Welcome to the 7th video of lesson Parallel Lines from Standard 9th of Mathematics Part 2. In previous videos, we have seen how to prove tests for parallel lines. Now we are going to prove two corollaries based on this test of parallel lines. Let's see what are the two corollaries. Let's see the first one. First corollary is if a line is perpendicular to two lines in a plane, then the two lines are parallel to each other. What is given? Let's try to understand. So if a line, there is a line which is perpendicular to two lines in the same plane. So this one line which is perpendicular to this first line and it is perpendicular to the another line. Okay. So there is a line, say L, M and N. So line L is parallel to line M, as well as this one first line is perpendicular to the another line N. Then these two lines M and N, they are parallel to each other. This we have to prove. Okay. So how can we prove? As we see, we get these two angles which are corresponding angles. So we can name this angle A and angle B. If these two angles are perpendicular, means these two and both the angles are going to be 90 degrees. If so, corresponding angles are congruent by corresponding angle test, these two lines are parallel. So this is easy very much. So just see how to write. First we have to write given from the figure that line L is perpendicular to line M. And this line L is again perpendicular to line N. Line N is perpendicular to line N. L is perpendicular to line N. Okay. Now this is the given thing. Then we have to prove. So this is one line, first line, which is perpendicular to second and third line. And we have to prove that second and third line to which this first line is perpendicular, these two are parallel. So to prove line M is parallel to line N. Okay. So we got any extra things, so we can start the proof part. Okay. So we have been given that line L is perpendicular to line M and line L is perpendicular to line N. Given. Therefore, angle A is congruent to angle B. Each 90 degree. Each 90 degree. Okay. And therefore, now these two are corresponding angles. So if two corresponding angles are congruent, this line M is parallel to line N. The reason is corresponding angle test. That's it. As we have shown two angles corresponding are congruent, we have used the corresponding angle test, and then hence the statement is proved. The statement is proved. So if you remember, actually this property we have verified by activity method in previous class. Here we have just learned how to write logical statements one after the other with proper reasoning. Okay. Now let's come to the corollary 2. Okay. So what is the corollary 2? If two lines in a plane are parallel to the third line. Here it was perpendicular. Here it is given parallel to the third line. So there are two lines. They are parallel to the third line in the plane. Of course in the same plane, that these two lines are parallel to each other. So here we have three lines. Okay. Say line number, say first is L. And all these three are parallel. Okay. M and the third one is N. Now what is given? Two lines. Say line number 1, line number 2, and this is line number 3. If we take that first line and second line, these two are parallel to the third. Means what is given to us? It's given to us that first line is parallel to the third. Second is also given parallel to the third. If this is given, we have to prove that these two lines, first and second, which are parallel to the same line third, these two are parallel to each other. Then we have to prove line first is parallel to the line 7. That is our proof. Okay. So whatever name we have given, we can replace the numbers by name. Okay. So what is given? Let's write given line L. Let's write here line L is parallel to line N. L is parallel to N. This we have given. Another line M is parallel to line N. These two are parallel. So this is given to us, and now we have to prove these two are parallel to each other. And to prove line L is parallel to line N. So this we have to prove. Now how can we prove? We have only 3 lines, okay, which we need to be proved to be parallel out of that. So whether to decide whether the 2 lines are parallel or not. So if you have decided these 2 lines are parallel or not, we need help of the angles formed by the transversal. Then it can be corresponding, alternate or interior. But here we do not have any transversal, so we need to draw a transversal. So which is extra thing can be called as construction. So line element, we can say line P. Okay. Now we have to write this as construction. Construction, let line P be the transversal of lines L, M and N. Okay. Now after not only this transversal, but we need some angle. So if we take these angles, corresponding angles A, B and C, forming corresponding angles, angle A, B and angle C respectively. Okay. So this is our construction. So proof part. How can we prove? Okay. Now when it is given L is parallel to N, we can say A is parallel to C. Okay. What we can say, angle A is parallel to A is congruent to C, because these 2 lines are parallel. And now it's given that second line is also parallel to third. So we can say B is also congruent to C. Angle B is equal to angle C. So when these 2 angles A and B which are congruent to C, so these 2 angles are congruent to each other by transitivity, or from statement number 1 and 2. So if we can prove that angle A is equal to B or congruent to B, so these 2 are corresponding angles congruent, that's why these 2 lines are parallel. Okay, so we have to write like that. So first we will write line, first is L is parallel to line N. Given, therefore the first statement, angle A is congruent to angle C. Statement number 1, corresponding angles Similarly, now line M is parallel to line N. It's given. I think I should rub this part so we can write over here clearly. Okay. So if line M is parallel to N, therefore angle B is congruent to angle C. Statement number 2, corresponding angles. And now from 1 and 2 we can say that angle A is congruent to angle B from 1 and 2. So here we got 2 corresponding angles of line L and M. They are congruent. Hence, therefore line L is parallel to line M. The reason is now corresponding angle test. Corresponding angle test. here I want to make you alert or smart tip that sometimes students get confused where to write corresponding angle and where to write corresponding angle test. So let me tell you, when you are saying these two lines L is parallel to M, when this is given and then when you write say angle A is congruent to angle B, you have to write only corresponding angles. Okay, this is one thing. So when two lines are parallel, these pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. That's it. Here the word test is not required. But when corresponding angles are given, that angle A and B are congruent, if it is given to you, and then you need to say line, say L is parallel to M. So from the angles, when you want to say the lines are parallel, so this is now test of parallel lines, that if it is parallel or not. You are saying these two lines are parallel because the corresponding angles are congruent. Here you need to use the word with the corresponding angle, the word test. Here you should use the word test. So where you have to prove the line, so to prove the lines are parallel, you need to use the word test. Okay. Here you need to use the word test. Okay. To prove parallel, it is test. So parallel P, T, test. T for to prove parallel, it is use the word test. So that's the tip for you. So where to use that word test and where not to use the word test. So when these two lines were given parallel, we have shown that these two angles are congruent because they are corresponding angles. And where we have these two corresponding angles congruent, we have shown these lines are parallel using the word corresponding angle test. These are very, very minute things, but if students go wrong, then you can miss your marks. And please do not miss marks for this some misconception, misunderstanding and writing in incorrect way. Okay, so we have proved this statement and then hence we can write, hence the given statement is proved. Okay, so here we have proved the two corollaries which are also based on the test of parallel lines. Hope you have understood this. In the next video we will see how to solve sums based on this test from practice set 2.2. I hope you have liked this video, you have understood this to proofs. Please give me your likes, comments, and yes, if you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.